What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, how Tesla's looking thus far, some very important information about the Cybertruck launch event, and how this could affect Tesla's share price moving forward. Before I break into all this information, before I talk about some things that Elon Musk has said and what's happening with this big event, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, let's break down what's happened to the charts. Let's break down what's going on with Tesla. So one of the things I pointed out yesterday was that Tesla has a potential accumulation structure that's developing. And when we look at the data, right, when you look at all this data, you can see that the volume is really slowing down. It's been slowing down for the last few days, and this tends to be marking a potential surge in volatility. So what tends to happen is we get very tight. We just continue to just consolidate, trade sideways, get tighter and tighter and tighter. And our Bollinger Bands, if I were to just like bring these up, they tend to signify something very, very different that's developing. So if I go to like the 4 hour, even like the daily charts, let me just show you what this looks like. You will see that the Bollinger Bands have a tendency of getting very tight before we get some like really volatile moves. So like right here, they got really tight before this thing expanded and we made this big move to the upside. There's another instance where they got really tight, like right here. They got so tight, volatility was so tight. Then all of a sudden, we got this expansion as we came back down. And then as of recent, let me just go back to the chart right now. You can see that Tesla has been on this downtrend. They got really tight right here, really, really tight back in October before Tesla got this big sell off. And as of recent, they're starting to get tight again, and we might be seeing an expansion right here going into next week. So, how I'm seeing it is Tesla, if anything, is likely going to try to get a surge in volatility. And I think that the event with the Cybertruck could lead to some hype. All right. Now, am I bullish on the Cybertruck in terms of like fundamentals and financials? Not necessarily, because you have to remember the Cybertruck is going to be a big liability for Tesla to start off. But for the long term, after 12 to 18 months, once this thing could become profitable, that's going to be a big plus for Tesla. And I believe it's going to be massive for the company. Remember, when it comes to Tesla's share price, at least for like the next 12 months, don't think that just because the Cybertruck could be a liability, it means Tesla's going to drop. That is completely illogical reasoning because Tesla's share price is determined and dictated by sentiment and also many external factors from Optimus to AI to FSD and etc. In my video from yesterday, I broke down another FSD update that was looking pretty good for Tesla. Now I just want to focus more on the Cybertruck launch event. So when is this happening? It's going to be on November 30th. It's going to be coming very soon, and there's likely going to be some hype associated with it. So we have some specs about that were revealed. We actually have a lot of images about this. We can see the weight right over here. We can see right over here, it's saying that it could be depending on the configurations, could be about 7,000 to 8,000 pounds or even heavier. Other ones could weigh up to like 9,000, depending on if you have like the dual motor system. So once again, guys, it's really heavy, very, very heavy, very, very strong, very durable, very, very interesting. What about the towing power? You guys can see it over here. It has a max payload of about 2,500 pounds and has about 11,000 pounds of towing power. And at the launch event, this is saying that they claimed it had about 3,500 pounds of payload. So once again, maybe it lost some during the developmental process or etc. But still very powerful nonetheless. It doesn't really change my view. When it comes to their EV truck weight comparisons compared to like the F-150 Lightning, you guys can see right over here, the Cybertruck is stronger than most of them except for the Ram 1500 REV. But for the most part, it's very, very strong, very durable. The towing of up to about 11,000 pounds is still very strong, stronger than most, except for the Ram 1500 REV. And then when it comes to the curb weight, it still is a lot heavier than most of them, except for like the Chevy Silverado EV. Very interesting stuff. Not bad for Tesla thus far. It's very comparable to the other competitors out there. On top of that, it has a very interesting suspension that could be adjusted from what I saw, depending on if you're interested in like off-roading and doing things like that. There was a video on Elon Musk's Twitter page where he was talking about how the Cybertruck could just be used for like off-roading and things like that. So very, very cool. It has a very, very unique design, especially for its overall axle and things like that. So very, very cool specs. On top of that, I saw this making like a lot more headlines about its like the payload capacity and the 11,000 pound towing rating, which is not bad, very very good if anything. Now I just want to talk about a couple of other things. So with this event, right, with this coming out, there's a lot of hype with it. A lot of investors are just excited. We even saw Elon Musk talk about on the Joe Rogan podcast about how the Cybertruck is going to be bulletproof, which is like a huge plus for many buyers out there. However, the glass is not entirely bulletproof. It's optional to get it bulletproof. So still very cool, very 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 awesome. I know lots and lots of people would love that. With all the sales coming out, I think that's going to be bullish for Tesla. But just because I mentioned that the financials are not like necessarily like super super bullish from a fundamental standpoint to start off with Cybertruck, that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to tank immediately. It doesn't mean Tesla has to crash. Okay, there's so many different factors affecting Tesla, and for now we're just going to focus on the short term. And for the short term, when we have these launch events, when we have these big events, sometimes you're going to see something like a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I think there's going to be a lot of hype, which could still launch Tesla's share price up. So if the market is starting to flatten, especially like SPY and the QQQ showing some weakness, I believe that the price price ratio is going to start going up because Tesla has the potential to outperform the market, at least on Wednesday/Thursday, in my opinion. So I think there's going to be upside, but we have to be watching some key levels for confirmation. All right, so why am I talking about upside? There are many different factors, right? One thing you can mention is that the 4 hour is showing a potential inverse head and shoulders like structure. Then we also happen to have a cup and handle like structure that could lead to more upside right here. And like I said in my video from yesterday, right, we have this, hold on, we have this imbalance way over here. Hold on. This imbalance is going to be very important for us to be watching for on the 4 hour time frame. So with this imbalance that developed, this thing could act as like a really nice magnet. Not right there, right? Where is it? It's actually right here. Sorry about that, guys. This one right here at this like 252 area. So we're gonna be watching this imbalance very carefully and see how that ends up dictating volatility. I also wanted to add that this chart is also telling us a different story. So like up here, when Tesla was in this like 260 area, this was clearly a distribution phase, right? We had this head and shoulders. This is very distributive. And this is where the sellers were stepping in to get rid of those shares. So they launched it back down. We saw Tesla tank a bit. And then down here, when people were panicking, people were saying Tesla's going to crash to 150. It's the end of the world. I was saying, wait a second, guys. We have a bullish divergence. This is a buying opportunity. And do not panic. That's what I said when we were down here. Do you guys remember that? Not trying to brag, I'm just saying the truth. And this right here was our accumulation. This is an accumulation structure that developed. So Wall Street was buying down here. They wanted you to become fearful. They wanted people to start selling. They were buying right over here. You can see this accumulation. What did they do? They launched it back up. Wall Street's already quite green. And now retail started to catch up as this thing started pumping up. So you guys can really see the structure that shifted in Tesla and why it's still looking bullish in my opinion. So that being said, what do I think is going to happen? Do I think Tesla is going to explode? Well, thus far, we have been range trading a bit. So we have this key support between 232 and 230 around that zone at our EMAs. And I think that we can see buyers just defend every time we kind of like touch these levels. We want to see Tesla basically first off break above the high we made on a couple of days ago, basically 238. If we break that, we have one imbalance to 242. I think Tesla's going to be launching up there by like Wednesday or Thursday. And in order to turn really bullish, you want to see this thing try to break 246.5. If we break this high, we're going to be launching to the 250s quite easily. So I think there's a lot of potential for that to happen, especially with this bullish accumulation structure. So with that being said, don't turn too bullish till we see confirmation. We might start off very sideways between 230 and like 235, going back and forth and back and forth. And I think there's going to likely be a break as time goes on. For the week, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech on Friday. We also have a couple of other factors. But with the Tesla Cybertruck event, I think we might see some upside. I think that the chart is suggesting that. I also want to call out that the daily time frame on Tesla, if you look at the daily, I think that the daily is we got a nice bullish cross in the PPO. We've been on an uptrend overall, and we're holding our 220 EMAs nicely. It looks to me like Tesla is going to basically, it could shop a little bit for another couple of days between 230, 235. All right, that's fine. But then we're going to get a break and attempt to make our way back up towards 250 plus. And I think that's going to happen approaching the event. Now, just because we're pumping approaching the event, do not let the euphoria get the best of you. Okay? It could pump, it could pump approaching the event, but after the event, you want to be careful. Sometimes during these events, or usually what happens is we pump and then we just start sinking right after, like a buy the rumor, sell the news event. All right, so I anticipate upside. I think we're going to break into at least 250. I think that's going to happen by like Wednesday or Thursday. I think that there's going to be a lot of hype with this event. I think there's going to be upsides. So it's going to be very fun to play. So make sure you watch your charts carefully. With that being said, thank you so much for listening this far. I'm going to go over just a couple of other things worth mentioning before I end the video. I want to make this one very short since I know it's a long weekend. I don't want to take up too much of your time, anyways. For SPY, this is going to be very important. Now, SPY is once again, this could get dragged down because of Apple, but there's no confirmation or break. I want to remind you of this. I'm not super bearish on it yet. I think the technicals suggest there's going to be a downside move to the future. But once we break 452, that's when you could turn more bearish. And then we're going to be watching to see if we finally get that break this coming week, if not by next week, or I would say like next week or the week after that. So we'll be watching it, wait and see the break, wait for confirmation before you turn bearish, and just be very careful. Other tickers which could hold up are like Nvda. Going to be watching that 468 to 470 area. I did talk about this like momentarily. It's looking bearish on the daily, but don't forget this 472 areas to 20 EMA. It might act as support. So it's going to drop a bit more, but I think some buyers will try to defend it in the very low 470s to 468. And we could see it try to like bounce a bit. But overall, the structure is looking bearish. Maybe it drops a bit, bounces a little bit, and it just continues lower. Overall, that's worth mentioning. But if you look at the daily, Nvidia is weakening. Could drop a little bit more than try to bounce off the 20 EMA, then maybe drop lower. But we're going to be watching that very carefully. Make sure you watch support and just know that Nvidia is not looking the strongest thus far. I also want to mention that the VIX is very oversold. It's been dropping very hard. We're approaching this key support at 12.5. We're at like 52-week lows. And this thing is due for a bounce soon. I still think it's going to happen in the future. It just needs more time. The dollar has been dropping as well, but we're approaching some key support at 103. We'll be watching to see if that holds. Anyways, with that being said, guys, get ready for the Cybertruck launch event on Thursday. I'm very excited about it, and we'll be watching to see how it goes. Until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I just want to keep this video very short. Is Tesla about to squeeze? We can see a short squeeze, yes, as Tesla is currently the second most shorted stock in the market. So I think Tesla might squeeze approaching the Cybertruck event. Okay, but be very careful after the event. It could be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. And then before turning to bullish or bearish, make sure you watch your different levels. It's very important to watch them and just to be as patient as possible when it comes to trading. All right. So that's what I have for this one. Have a great weekend. Hopefully you guys enjoy some shopping. You guys enjoy spending time with family as well. So take care, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thanks again, and peace out.